VGK should have added more depth at the deadline. It's becoming more apparent, especially on the top line. Where is that winger? Our discussion next, right here on Lockdown Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Tony Cardasco, longtime sportscaster and marketing consultant, along with Chris Golick, owner of Silver State Cards and Sports and collectibles editor for the Hockey News. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Lockdown Golden Knights YouTube channel. And coming up ahead, where has Ben Hutton been? And a glance at VGK's schedule the rest of the way. We are brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app. Use that promo code LOCKDOWNNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. What time is it, Golick?
Gametime. Jeez, haven't been that in a while.
It has been a minute, as has been evidenced lately, right, Chris? VGK is missing some crucial pieces to this lineup, and I'm not certain if William Karlsson and Shea Theodore are enough, if they're the answer, so to speak, to make that strong push towards the end of the season. At the deadline, remember, Kelly McCrimmon was saying, he liked the centers and the defensemen, but he said he believed that VGK needed a winger, and they did not get one at the deadline. No new blood, at least. They keep it pretty much a revolving door there on the left side, and Bruce Cassidy cannot find that right, lest I say, chemistry on the top line right now. And not only that, on top of it all, Mark Stone and Jack Eichel, the two mainstays, just are not connecting as well. So I think there's some issues, and I want to know what your thoughts are.
The Golden Knights seem to be a little bit exposed right now, whether it's fatigue, which a lot of these players had a long break very recently, so that's kind of odd. But there's definitely fatigue playing a part right now. And the interesting thing here, I mean, number one, I guess you mentioned with the players, I was going to start looking over to my side here. You mentioned the players missing right now, William Karlsson, Shea Theodore. And it's important to recognize that this was and still is a division leading team we're talking about here. When you're a division leader on March 18th, you're a Stanley Cup contender. Now, when you start taking a couple of key, personnel out of the lineup, that's going to change things. It's obviously not a hot take by any means. So, but once William Karlsson and Shea Theodore come back, this should be a team that is going to be able to compete. Now, you mentioned the top line. You mentioned the Tanner Pearson line along with Jack Eichel and Mark Stone. When William Karlsson comes back, let's play a game here. Who's not getting scratched? Riley Smith isn't getting scratched. Olofsson's not getting scratched. Kolasar's not getting scratched. Dorofeev, Saad, Barbashev, and Mark Stone are not getting scratched. Nicholas Waugh, Brett Howden, Tomas Hertl are not getting scratched. Tanner Pearson, the moment William Karlsson is ready, which I'll bet is Thursday at this point, I think the Golden Knights wanted to give him the extra rest. So let's pretend that that William Karlsson is back on Thursday. Maybe tomorrow we can do a segment about what the lines could be, or reacting to the lines in practice today, either way. But Tanner Pearson is about to go from a first-line left wing on a Stanley Cup contending franchise to being a healthy scratch.
So when does Ivan Barbashev, or does he, go back on that top line? I mean, that seemed to be the best fit, I suppose, for VGK, and that's how they made their championship run, with him on the top line. So I just keep wondering, and, at what point does this entire roster stabilize? Okay, so once those two players do come back, and I'm still now with 15 games to go, I still am not sure if Theodore gets back in time for the remainder of this season. I think he's a postseason player. And then Karlsson, and I'm so curious, what in the world is Karlsson going to add for this team? Unless he can score a ton of goals, I'm not sure. Maybe he just gives them some extra pep in their step. Tell me, explain to me.
If we get the 30-30 Carlson back who can play defense, that'll be wonderful. If the Golden Knights don't get that version of Carlson back, that's going to be a concern. And I don't know what his exact timeline is. McCrimmon alluded to him coming back during the last road trip and seemed pretty confident. Obviously, that never happened. Feels like the Golden Knights wanted to give him the extra calendar days, knowing there's not a game coming up until they play Boston on Thursday in the St. Patrick's Day game. I was still so thrown off yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, by the way. I don't know why. But so that's the story with Carlson right there, number one. The concern now is you look at this team last year. Mark Stone, Tomas Hertl. Tomas Hertl is obviously injured last year in the playoffs. Mark Stone, sure, he had that early goal against the Stars, but he was playing on, he didn't look good out there skating around. He was stiff from the injury and everything. So now, could William Karlsson, if this situation drags out another month, that would suck, but that couldn't happen. Shea Theodore looks like it's somewhere between game 80 and game 2 of the playoffs is when Shea Theodore is going to wind up coming back. Will those players be able to just hit the ground running like Mark Stone did when this team won the Stanley Cup in the 22-23 season? That's obviously a big question as well. But to answer the question right now on the intern put up, does VGK have the depth right now? And I don't think so. I mean, even with a fully, if the Golden Knights are luckily enough to be fully healthy minus the goalie situation from the 22-23 run, then sure, they definitely got a chance. There's no doubt about that. But if you take a couple, even one of the key players out right now, it's going to make things really tough. And again, that's not new development. Any team that suffers an injury from a key player can make it difficult. But, having Teddy Bluger as your 19th forward waiting versus Jonas Rondbjerg or Tanner Pearson in this case, I think that's a big difference right there too.
Yeah, pretty interesting. And then again, putting the lines in a blender. We've seen Cassidy
blender,
do it.
Whatever the next level from a blender is where we're at right now, Tony.
Right.
This is
and like
it's a fault line. It's not a fault line.
We've seen Cassidy do this late in the season before, but sooner or later you're just going to have to get things right. And on that top line, it's absolutely been a revolving door. And then I would even give VGK off today, or your key players. Is it an optional skate today? Because I definitely would be resting Eichel and Stone. That would be it. I truly think
Eichel, Stone, Pietrangelo, give them optional. I mean, it's a vet team. Give them optional days for a little while. You don't
have to run them down. Yeah, but like, what are your thoughts about when he finally figures out that formula, Cassidy?
He knows the formula, but it's about the players responding. There's a reason Barbashev has been taken off that line. We've seen pockets of inconsistent play from Barbashev going back to the year after the Stanley Cup last season early on. That line was absolutely on fire early in the season. It was a cheat code for the first 3 weeks of the season. I mean, it was like 20 points in 6 games or something. Just stupid early on.
Ridiculous, right?
And the fact that it's fallen off that far, I don't know if it's, I mean, you're getting that type of output. Like, I get injuries happen. You want to move players around. But at this stage right now, they're only down one forward while adding Riley Smith and Brandon Saad to the mix. Brandon Saad has been a very welcome addition. Riley Smith is kind of doing what we thought, just kind of, a guy out there playing responsible hockey, trying to find some new chemistry with some old teammates. But I don't know. I think Barbashev probably should have stayed there the entire season and just let him work through it, honestly. That line was just too good. And we've seen where Cassidy moves things around, and all of a sudden, day one of the playoffs, boom, everything gets back to where it was when the regular season was, going early on. So I guess we'll see how that shakes out, but I don't know if there's anything Cassidy can do right now. You do have the Howden, Barbashev, Kolesar line performing at a decent level right now. Tomas Hertl and Dorofeev and Saad have been doing well. Eichel and Stone, they got some mileage. Of course, the Four Nations, we're going to bring that up because it matters. And Tanner Pearson, I'll say this again, I don't see a world where it makes sense that you go from being on the top line on a Stanley Cup contending team on March the 18th to a healthy scratch on March the 20th. Because that's, if Tanner Pearson's not the scratch, I'd be shocked. I don't know who else would be the scratch, but it just seems odd to me. It seems odd to me. You got Olofsson or Smith, who could easily play. I mean, that's the thing. Jack Eichel and Mark Stone, me and you can go out there and find some space on the ice when you have Eichel and Stone out there. The problem is Eichel and Stone haven't been playing at the right level as of late.
No.
So,
and all you need to do right now, the strategy would be shut down the top line and let those other depth pieces beat you. That's it. If I'm coaching against VGK, go heavy, top six, okay? And after that, go ahead, try to beat us. That's my strategy.
For a window, the depth pieces were getting it done. The very first game when Coach put the very first game when that line became Kolasar, Hutton, Barbashev, that line went friggin' bonkers. And Hurdle's been doing okay 5-on-5, but getting the power play points. Same can be said about Dorofeev. Saad's been doing well on the 5-on-5 side. Got to give McCrimmon credit for Brandon Saad. We're talking about depth. Imagine where this team would be without Brandon Saad right now. As crazy as that sounds, Saad's been a very nice piece for the last 12 games, however long it's been.
It doesn't matter who is out there on the ice. They are not getting shots, or they're not taking shots again. Why is this something in this organization's DNA where all of a sudden they go into these funks? Should I say funk? They go into these droughts, right, where no one wants to shoot the stinking puck, and they're going through that right now. Why?
You got a lot of talented players who can make a lot of high-level passes, and when those passes connect, it's a goal. I mean, obviously, not always, but when they are in tight in a 2-on-1 odd man situation, or just simply trying to get the puck across the slot area, when those passes do connect, it's going to be easy shots going from circle to circle, point to point, stuff like that. It's the type of thing that you don't fight. At times, it's going to drive Cassidy nuts. But at the end of the day, the Golden Knights do have the direct players in Barbashev, in Hutton, in Dorofeev, but then you got the skill in Eichel and Stone and stuff like that, who can create, and a Hannafin on the defensive side, Shea Theodore when he returns, who can make those passes. So that's the type of thing you just got to live with. You just got to live with it. It's going to drive the coach nuts. It's going to drive the fans nuts, especially if Boston comes in, gets an early lead, and the Golden Knights, are passing up shots, and the fans start yelling, shoot, and all that crap. And
I know.
So
my homie Dave bets every game. He bet a parlay of sorts, but he always puts in there Eichel over 2.5 shots. And
homie's gonna go broke pretty soon.
No, well, yeah, right now it's the drought season, but sooner or later he'll break out, and I think he's already cashed in a bunch. Coming up next, why doesn't VGK use the services of Ben Hutton?
Who?
It's a exactly interesting question there. Ben Hutton. Okay, intern just puts a question mark on Ben Hutton. We'll be back with more right after this. Locked On Golden Knights. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts that are ready to help you and to take your business to the next level. Believe it or not, I have found some work in the past on Upwork, so I can definitely attest to the strength of Upwork. Go to Upwork.com right now. It gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with the top freelance talent. I wouldn't say I'm the top, but definitely with the top freelance talent other than myself across multiple industries. And it does include IT, AI, web development, marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Finding the right talent. If you need help with the marketing campaign, you got it. Upwork can definitely connect you with a freelance expert who delivered incredible results. It is so fast and easy hiring. You just post a job. It is free and simple. And within a day, you'll have multiple qualified candidates to choose from. It's a cost-effective growth item. Instead of hiring full-time, it helps you fill in some gaps, helps you to find affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale your business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now. Post your job for free. And again, that is Upwork.com. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com to connect with the top talent and to grow your business today. There's nothing like watching basketball live. The energy of the crowd, it is that time of year. My goodness. The sound of sneakers on the hardwood, and maybe even a celebrity sighting courtside. If you want to catch a game in person, guess where you should go? Go to Gametime. It makes getting tickets easier than ever. Gametime's new feature, Gametime Picks, it filters out all the fluff, and it shows you only the best deals on great seats. So you don't have to waste time just scrolling through thousands of tickets. Easy ticket shopping. I just checked the Gametime app, and there are amazing deals on some huge matchups coming up. March Madness to the NBA. Gotta love the hoops, and Gametime Picks even highlights super deals, giving you the best bang for your buck. Peace of mind with C-Fuse before you buy. No surprise fees and lowest price guaranteed, and you can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today at Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account. Use that promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you will receive $20 off of your first purchase. Again, create an account. Use that redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it?
Game time.
Welcome back on this edition. We kind of jumped the gun there, bro. This edition of Locked On Golden Knights from Las Vegas, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Woke up to baseball this morning, Mr. Golick. Your Cubbies, man. Sparkling, dazzling.
These aren't regular season yet, is it?
Yeah, first game. It was opening day. Started at 3 a.m. this morning.
Opening day starts on March the 18th?
Yeah, because they're in Tokyo. So
will they come back to their week of spring training then?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they'll. I've got friends that are there.
Did the NHL take over MLB?
Yeah, probably, right? So every year it seems as
the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah, and the other teams, yeah, it's I think another week or so before the rest of the teams actually get into the swing of things. This new A's stadium,
the white roof. I know what you're going to talk about.
The white roof. Oh, because you saw my tweet. Yeah. Okay, the white roof. You can't pick up the baseball. It's the dumbest. That's what they have in Japan. How dumb is that? No, seriously.
NHL's taking over.
All right. A lot of unders in the new A's stadium.
Unders, overs, because their outfielders be dropping the ball.
Okay, well, perhaps. I didn't see any errors today, even with your Cubbies.
Did they win? Did the Cubs win?
No. What was it? 4-1 final, something like that.
By the way, before we forget to talk about this here.
What do we got? Okay,
White Sox fan, Tony, come on, White Sox fan.
Okay, all right.
That's my Bobby Jenks jersey. Look at that, Bobby Jenks.
Jeez Louise. That's great.
It's a great jersey.
So you're ready to wear that, I guess, right? For opening
I wore it
day?
yesterday or on Sunday on my stream.
Okay. Let's talk about Ben Hutton.
Let's talk about hockey.
So how could he play half the season a year ago for VGK, and now he's just way off the radar? No points this season. He has not played since November the 17th when he sustained an upper body injury. And then he went on the LTIR until December 27th. But why don't they use this guy? I said that he would be traded at the deadline. I was right about Brisson, not so right about Hutton. But again, here's a guy that, and he goes on the road, right? He's still with the team on the active roster, correct?
He skates pregame and everything with them every game.
So what's the story?
There is no story. It doesn't make any sense is the answer to that. Looking at some of Hutton's stats, last 3 seasons going back to 21-22, 58-31, 41 games played. Plus minus, how important it is, we can argue about this, but +7, +1, +12. That's pretty good. There was a pocket last season where I feel like every time dude played, the team was winning. Every time Hutton takes the ice, he's responsible. Just Nick Hague -5 right now. Looking at some of the defensemen. Ben Hutton's a 0. Ben Hutton's a 0. White Cloud is a 4. So whatever. But every time Hutton takes the ice, he's responsible. Is he great? No, he's not great by any means, but he's responsible. And the case for Ben Hutton right now is not get Ben Hutton out there and the Golden Knights' defensive problems will be fixed. That's not the nature of this segment by any means. The nature of this segment is why. First of all, Pietrangelo, we'll start there. Pietrangelo's tired. He's hurt. I'm not saying Ben Hutton in favor of Pietrangelo for the next 15 games. I'm saying one game here, one game there, back-to-backs. Don't play Pietrangelo in back-to-backs. Let's go on the NBA train for a second here. Keep your superstars out in the back-to-backs. Again, that's a bit egregious, but point being is, why not give Pietrangelo some rest? God knows he needs it. He took off the 4 Nations. Whatever ailment he had's not been fixed. All right, let's be clear about this. Number 2, why not use Ben Hutton in other moments to spell players, or more importantly, to create competition? Zach Whitecloud is a fine player, but I don't think he has earned the privilege of, if Zach Whitecloud's healthy, he's in the lineup every single day. I don't think he's earned that privilege. Nicholas Hague, I think, has probably earned that privilege a little bit more. But why not every now and then get Hutton in the lineup for a Zach Whitecloud to create that competition, to push all 3 of their games a little bit more, to push Ben Hutton a little bit harder, to push Zach Whitecloud a little bit harder, to push Nick Hague a little bit harder? Because if Ben Hutton is out there doing well, now you got to look over your shoulder a little bit here. Right now, Whitecloud's comfortable. He has no competition for his spot. When Shea Theodore comes back, Whitecloud's not going anywhere. Korzak is going to get scratched. And why not put Korzak in the lineup? Why let Korzak get comfortable right now? And Korzak's been okay at times. Let's be clear about that. And
do you realize he's played 29 games already? Is that what I saw for Korzak?
Yeah, and Korzak, he's solid, but he has not earned the privilege of the 7th man spot. It's his spot, no questions asked. He hasn't, not at his age. I get you want to get him reps and everything, but you have an experienced NHL journeyman type who has chemistry. There it is again, Tony, with every single player on this VGK roster, mainly the defense. Why not utilize him more? And the answer is Cassidy has 0 trust in him. Cassidy does not trust Ben Hutton on the ice. End of story.
Yeah, and we keep thinking that he's going to appear in the lineup. And is it a lefty
as a forward
stick, righty stick situation? Obviously, right. He's a lefty.
Hutton, I'm pretty sure, is a lefty.
And then Korzak is a righty. So how does that work out? If you're
and that plays in, that's important to Coach Cassidy. But again, it's not the be-all end-all either.
Right. And you said he had no trade value. I think he's a really good complementary player.
I think, but the problem is they're going to look at, when other GMs and stuff are going to look at the situation, they're going to say Ben Hutton's played 5 games this year. Now, there was an injury and everything that derailed his opportunities, but I don't think it would have mattered a whole lot, honestly. No. But I think that's a big part of it, and it would be a future considerations type of moment. And you need to keep Ben Hutton. I think he's $1 million, not mistaken, AAV. If another defenseman were to go down, Ben Hutton would be a great person to have in the lineup. Unfortunately, that's what it's going to take. And so for that logic, we don't want Ben Hutton in the lineup, because that means another defenseman got hurt. But again, putting a bow on it, give Pietrangelo a day off here or there, or at least back-to-backs. Put some pressure on the bottom pairing, which isn't a pairing right now, but put some pressure on Whitecloud and Nicholas Hague right now, because Ben Hutton can go in this lineup and produce and help this team win. I'd argue at times better than a Whitecloud, better than a Hague, and better than a Pietrangelo in a back-to-back scenario, or whatever.
He's got fresh legs. I mean, and the crazy thing is that he's been available. I like the word that you used, responsible, but he's been available since December, and still nothing out of him. And some might argue again that Korzak is playing so well that they don't need to replace him. I don't
So
know.
well, I don't know if that's the terminology that
I
I
just
would
think
use.
that,
Korzak
again,
is fine.
right. It's a chemistry thing. Let's just say that.
Chemistry
Okay.
thing. Buzzword again.
Yeah.
Bring it. Let's go.
I know. I had to. Well, yeah. Not so well as much as it's a fit right now.
Korzak
And
7 assists. He is a +6. So, I mean, or is he a 0? No, he's a +6. So listen, Korzak deserves credit, and Korzak is developing into an everyday player. I'm not going to take anything. This isn't to take anything away from the job that Korzak has done. This is more about pushing, especially White Cloud. It's more about pushing White Cloud and getting Pietrangelo a little bit of rest. That's it. End of story.
yeah, Hutton's just been a healthy scratch for the last umpteen games. So we'll keep an eye
Push
on what
Korzak a
happens.
little more if you get Ben Hutton out there.
They're going to need him. They'll need him eventually, right? They definitely
Eventually,
will.
there's 15 games left. I mean, eventually, it's almost over.
Well,
He ain't coming to the playoffs unless a crazy thing happens. They'll probably bring Luke Cormier up from the American League then.
Okay, coming up next, the schedule catching up to VGK, perhaps. Intern says VGK has the 9th easiest remaining schedule. I beg to differ some, and we'll get into that next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. I'm sorry, Mr. Intern. Welcome back.
You confused me. You're talking like the Golden Knights have a hard schedule. This is I can't wait.
Welcome
can't
back.
Wait.
Locked On Golden Knights here. Again, thanks for making us your first listen every day. I'm going to be really distracted with hoops this week. I'm not going to lie, Mr. Golick. Will not lie. It's going to be a heck of a week. We're so ready. So the Golden Knights have 15 games remaining, and 8, more than half of the schedule, are of the back-to-back variety. So this weekend, the schedule is catching up some. And if VGK is not up for the task, if they play the way they played this last weekend, they're going to go upside down. And why can't any of these teams, the Kings and Edmonton, historically, it's like a long history for VGK. Historically, they just can't, they get close to VGK and then they can't deliver the knockout punch. That could be a topic for another day. So this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Detroit here at home. And then the Lightning come in tail end of a back-to-back playing Utah the previous day in a matinee. Okay, so in any event, they play Saturday, Sunday. Then the back-to-backs, March 28th and 29th at Chicago, at Nashville. Not a rigged schedule, not at all. April 5th and 6th at the Flames and at the Canucks. And then they run it back. Did I read this correctly? The 15th and 16th of April, they play a back-to-back again with the Flames and Canucks. It's crazy. Why is that?
It's a Major League Baseball took over the NHL scheduling. We'll go opposite now.
Isn't that funny though? They play the same two teams in back-to-backs.
There's been some unique things, right? Didn't a teams played like 2 days in a row? Like in one arena or something. I think didn't the Blues have that happen earlier on? There's been some weird scheduling stuff here, but yeah, the 9th softest schedule. That's what the website Tankathon, best website in the history of the universe, just because of the name. Looking at the remaining opponents, the toughest opponents, and these are pretty tough opponents: the Jets, the Avs, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Oilers, and the Wild. You can make a loose case for all 5 of those teams being cup contenders. Of course, more or less the Jets. The Jets and all 5 of those teams can win the cup right now. The remaining worst teams, 1 game against the Hawks, 2 games against the Preds, 1 game against the Kraken. Bruins come on Thursday. Wings come back on Saturday, fresh off. And Golden Knights are going to want to crush them on Saturday. And then, of course, 2 games against the Gary Flames. You mentioned the 4 back-to-backs. Every other day right now. 30 calendar days left, I believe, in the schedule, if my math is right, starting with today, Tuesday, the 18th. 30 days left, 15 games, average of 1 game every other night. By the way, Pietrangelo's about to get really tired. So I don't look at this as an easy schedule by any means, but I can understand how the other schedules, I mean, it looks like this website ranks them by the No, I don't think it's not by win percentage. I'm not sure how they come to their SOS, their strength of schedule. I'm not sure what the mathematical formula is, but in any event, Tankathon says the Golden Knights got it pretty easy down the stretch compared to the other 32 teams in the National Hockey League. So
Yeah.
I don't see it based on the back-to-backs, nor do I see it based on their opponents, but we'll see. We'll see if VGK can just turn the light on simply down the stretch.
Remember, after the start of the new year, I think VGK had the third easiest schedule.
Yeah, we had
after
a
the new
segment
year.
about that. I have to go
Yep.
back, but
Yeah.
it was definitely up there as far as easy goes. Yes.
Yeah, as far as that goes. But now VGK, it's not about the strength of schedule. It's about them just not performing up to par. And Chicago, Nashville, they could get 4 points there. They should get 4 this weekend just based on the Lightning coming in.
Tony,
gassed
stop.
and-
They should have had 4 this past weekend. It's not that easy. It's
Yeah.
not that easy.
Flames Canucks will be interesting because, especially that second weekend.
Both of those teams should be fighting for that last wild card spot.
Okay. So, no. All right. No, I did say it's a little bit more difficult than the ninth easiest. And they've just made it hard on themselves, VGK. Let's leave it at that.
No, and that's pretty fair. I mean, yeah, it's been a little bit tougher down the stretch lately, and some of this is self-inflicted. I get they just had a road trip where they got
shoot the puck.
There you go. I get there was a road trip where they just got half the points, but these were Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Detroit, Columbus, and Columbus is the team that they performed. They didn't even play that well in the Columbus game. Like we were having some up and back on social. Someone said, "Oh, but the Columbus game they were great." No, they weren't. They were terrible for the first 18 minutes of that game or whatever it was. And then they found a way to get one in, and then it kind of stabilized after that. But that game could have gone the other way if Aiden Hill didn't have a remarkable game. Wish we would have seen that on Saturday as well against Buffalo, but that's not what happened. So even though it is the ninth easiest schedule per Tankathon, it's not going to be that easy. And winning a division, the Golden Knights have given up probably 4 or 5. We can probably go more than that, but we'll call it 4 or 5 points that they should have had right now. That nothing's a lock at this stage of the year, but it's a heck of a lot easier if you got 4 or 5 more points to work with.
That Columbus team starting to fade. I mean, a team that was playing on emotion for most of the season, and then they hadn't been shut out at home in 2 years, and they were shut out by VGK, and then their next game against the Rangers shut out again. The cool thing was the Rangers, the entire team was playing volleyball while the Vegas Thrill was there getting ready that
I know the Thrill were there Columbus. For that. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's the connection. Okay.
Yeah. So the Thrill.
I knew they were playing volleyball.
It's pretty cool. So they were out Rangers on the volleyball court, and Rempe just kept spiking the ball. He doesn't understand that you're just supposed to play nice there with the rest of the fellas because he's.
I mean, he doesn't even have to like jump to do it though.
He didn't have to jump. No. We appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers. Happy Hangover Day to all who celebrate. Don't forget, coming up on Friday, WTF Day. I'm so glad I gave up drinking, bro. Saturdays, sometimes it's the Chris Golick Show. And again, thank you so much. Please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. For my man, Chris Golick, I am Tony Cardasco. Welcome back, baseball. And we'll see you again tomorrow right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.